is the premiere of my brand new YouTube show on Facebook. It's called Tom Zuba's A New Way to Do Grief. And next Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, we're going to be coming live from my YouTube channel. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to YouTube, put in Tom Zuba, subscribe to my channel. So next week you'll get a notice that we're going live. Really, really excited to welcome you to what I believe is going to be an uplifting, hope-filled, entertaining, and educational format. For those of you that don't know, I've written a book. It's called Permission to Mourn, A New Way to Do Grief. I actually do believe there is a new way to do grief. And when we do grief a new way, that creates a new way to do life. This month, October 1st, full moon tonight, we are going to honor Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In a second, I'm going to introduce you to my most amazing program manager, Jessica. And during the second segment, I'm going to introduce you to a number one amazing badass, Dawn Whitcomb, who some of you know. So right now, if all goes well, I'm going to bring on Jessica. Hey there. We're live, sweetheart. Technical difficulties, apparently. Jessica's trying to connect to audio. And what I've noticed when I'm going with one more person, my screen is getting bigger. Looks like she's... So we're all used to guests coming on from Zoom. There's some technical difficulties every once in a while. She's freezing up. Hey there! Can you hear me?
Now I can. I think it just switched over to my my home Wi-Fi. Hello!
Hi, sweetheart.
How are you?
Not only am I good, I'm really, really excited.
I am too.
Can we toast? Can we make
Let's toast.
Can we make them click?
Cheers, click.
Cheers to a new adventure.
So happy and so excited to be a part of it.
A new way to do grief.
A new way.
So literally, you just came from school, right?
Yes. So teaching music today. So I teach music one day a week, and then I sub at the school as well, where Lily goes. So, but I'm lucky that I live right here in our really tiny town. So the school is just down the road and I'm able to be here a little bit late, but here.
Nobody is ever a little bit late. Everybody arrives right on time. That's what we call a new way of doing it. You are absolutely right on time. You know, I love this. Tell the people if you're comfortable with this, tell the people the name of the town where you live.
I live in the town, the Mecca of Table Grove, Illinois.
And how many
table.
How many people are in that town?
So the sign still says 400. We're going with that.
It's possible that 30 of them have moved over the last time they put the sign up.
Very, very possible.
And
but some of us have moved back. Who would have thought that I would have ever, moved back? So.
And you literally grew up on a farm.
I did. Yep.
And
grew up on a farm just 15 minutes from our little town.
And your parents still live there?
They still live on the farm, the same farm that my father grew up on.
And you have animals on the farm?
We do. My dad raises cattle, beef cattle, and then we have chickens and a lot of farm cats. But yeah, it's a working farm.
And when I look at you and when I think of you, I don't really think of you putting your hand underneath the chickens to get the eggs and put them in a basket and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to be pecked, and I don't love that. I prefer it when the chickens are like out of the coop when I go and collect the eggs. But yeah, I mean, I grew up, we baled hay in the summertime. I walked beans. My first job was detasseling corn, like when you take the tassels off the top of the ears of corn. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, all of that farm girl experience.
So you and I have talked about this. I live in the booming, thriving metropolis of Rockford, Illinois. The metro population is about 150,000. I'm 90 minutes from Chicago. And what's blows my mind, I was born in Chicago. I love Chicago. I always thought I would go back to Chicago. And I might, although I don't know. I've lived in Chicago. I've lived in Oak Park. There are people in my town of 150,000 that have never been to Chicago, have no desire to go to Chicago, and think it's such a huge, dangerous, scary place that So we're 400 people, 150,000, and I don't know, 20 billion in Chicago. There's a lot of extremes here.
There are. Yeah, everybody arrives with their own perspective. But I mean, there's a lot of people here that have never been. Or if they go, they take the train, it's kind of an experience. But
do you think, are there people living where you live that would say, oh my Lord, I would never go to Rockford. That city is so overwhelming. It's so huge.
Yeah, there's people that don't want to, I think of like, Peoria or Springfield or a larger area that, I don't want to get lost or worrying about the traffic or driving on the interstate.
Yeah.
It's always surprising, but everyone has their own kind of story that they tell themselves, like that's too scary, it's too overwhelming. But,
right. So you and I have set the intention, particularly in this age of the pandemic, that every Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central, next Thursday, starting on my YouTube channel, we are going to create a safe, sacred space. And at this one big table, inspired by the town that you live in, there's going to be room for absolutely everyone at the table that you and I set.
Absolutely.
So I had a really interesting conversation with someone the other day. You and I, through my Facebook Lives, have we had 2 live conversations or have we had 3?
We've had at least 2. We had one the other night.
We talked about childhood. We talked about childhood cancer Tuesday night, which you can find on my YouTube channel. And then you and I spent well over 2 hours when you talked about life, death, and the road to healing. Was there a third time we talked?
I don't think one-on-one, in many groups, but I don't think one-on-one.
Okay, so what someone said to me in a really beautiful, non-judgmental way. I mean, truly. I mean, you know that I believe every single person is doing exactly what they need to do to survive. I hope I'm not kidding myself, but I welcome all of it. I mean, I welcome all of it. I'm fascinated by humanity. I'm fascinated to hear what people's truths are. Based on the 2 conversations I've had live with you, and because you and I have known each other through the classes I facilitate, and you've attended my live retreat, and now you're working for me as my program manager, I have a lot of the bits and pieces of the journey that you've been on. Not exactly FUN, all the TIME. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I mean, she quit her downtown Chicago pharmaceutical sales job the day her daughter was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. For how many years did Olivia and you travel the childhood cancer journey?
Just under 4 years. It was 3 years and 8 months. That was, yeah, an odyssey.
Yes, 3 years and 8-month odyssey. Along the way, you're in the process. I'm going to say this in the most loving, kind, gentle way. You dumped your husband. Thank God, thank God, thank God. You moved back to Table Grove. You know, you were sleeping in your childhood bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay, you've walked through the fire.
Yes.
And what
Yeah.
someone said to me is, I find it really hard to relate to Jessica because she's so upbeat. She's so happy. She's just filled with love and light, and she's so radiant. How could that be? How could that be?
Wow. That's, well, that makes me happy that, I want everyone to be able to relate because I have experienced all of it. And then I've gone through my period in life too, where I just didn't want to get out of bed. And that lasted for a while. And it could still be lasting today, but I found another way and I'm grateful for that.
I'm very cognizant of the fact that people encounter me and they're like, oh my Lord, I mean, you're so happy, you're exuberant, you have a million projects going on, you genuinely seem to enjoy your life. So there must be something special or extraordinary or different about you because, I mean, I know you're the guy with the 2 dead kids and the dead wife, but A plus B does not equal TZ. And in essence, this woman was saying the same thing about you. And I don't know how to say in the right words that I have 2 dead kids. 2 birth certificates, but 2 death certificates. I have a dead wife. There is nothing special about me. Whatever angst and turmoil and sadness and anger you would imagine that I've experienced it. And I know that the same is true of you and for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a set of choices each day and multiple times throughout the day to get to choose peace over pain, looking for the bright spots, the joy, looking for the light. In music class today, the kiddos and I were singing, look for the good. And doing that every day, practicing that every day, but it is a series of choices and lots of little steps along the way.
So there's someone out there saying, huh? I got a dead husband.
Yeah.
I got a dead kid. And my mom just died of the virus last night. You want me to look for the good? What is good? Where would I even begin looking for the good?
Yeah. Well, feeling it, acknowledging the sadness and the grief, and not just, I'm going to look for the good and I'm not going to sit in the pain. You know, it's acknowledging it, it's accepting all of it, allowing yourself to feel all of the emotion, feel the grief, feel the sorrow, but also in that knowing that there is hope throughout the journey.
And my hope is that when people see you, when people see me, they say, huh, well, if they can do that, if they can create that, maybe I can too.
Absolutely.
I want to make it clear, I am not about positive thinking. I am not about positive affirmations. I am not about faking it till you make it. I'm not. I'm about, she got a dead daughter. I got the 2 dead kids and the dead wife. We allow all the feelings and all the emotions to come up and out, up and out, up and out. That's called mourning. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we heal. We scream, we kick, we shout. I'm not going to say it here because my mom might be watching. We say the F
Right.
word a lot. We go F, 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 F. We foam at the mouth. We,
Yeah.
and none of that is beautiful. None of it's particularly what we would consider spiritual. It's raw, human, fucking emotion sprouting up and out like a volcano. Am I wrong?
No, it's necessary. It's ugly and it's real. And to deny that part of it, that's not the real story. Of course, there's days when you don't want to get out of bed. All of it. Acknowledge and feel all of it. It's, you lost somebody. Your life has been cracked wide open. It's not pretty. And it doesn't have to be pretty.
It's sacred and it's
It's
healing.
sacred and it's healing.
The old way to do grief is denying, repressing, pretending, being strong, getting up out of bed every morning and marching to work, marching to work, marching to work.
Right.
I can't
being
tell.
being so busy that you're not thinking and you're not feeling. I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to throw myself into taking care of other people or throwing themselves into work or whatever it is that they do to keep their mind occupied on something else.
I can't tell you the number of times I've worked with people and they've said, all I want to do is stay in bed all day long.
Yeah.
And I'll say, well, have you ever done that? Oh, no, I would never do that. I'm like, why not? Be kind, be loving, be responsive to your body. If you want to stay in bed all day, stay in bed all day. Let me ask you, Jessica, have you literally ever allowed yourself to stay in bed all day?
I'm sure, especially the beginning, there were days that I did. I have a living daughter as well, so I have to be a mom. But especially in the early days after Olivia passed, my oldest daughter, I had the blessing. We moved home with my parents, so we were in the same house together. So they helped in those early days when I just didn't want to get out of bed.
You said something.
But, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it was the blessing that they were there, and I know that not everybody has that support and someone that can take over the doing of things, because life is still happening. You want to be able to hit the pause button. You don't want to go on because, or you don't want to see anybody else moving on because your life has changed so abruptly and so suddenly. You want it to stop, but that's not always the reality. But I was given the gift of having people around to help me do things when I just didn't have it in me.
So the message that I'm going to offer you, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm suggesting that if you want to stay in bed all day, this is what I would do. I would get one of these cups. You can get a Becoming Radiant cup at tomzuba.com. That's the very first thing I would do. And I would fill that cup with something that you really, really love. Honestly, if it's wine or if it's a shot of Irish whiskey in your coffee, go for it. If you like black, if you like the color that Jessica has, if you like white, it's completely up to you. Get one of these at tomzuba.com. Take a picture of yourself in bed all day long. post it on Facebook, tag us, take really, really good care of yourself.
Good self-care. I love that. And it's not being lazy and it's not hiding. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you need to do. That soul check. Your soul knows what you need.
Part of what this journey is about, the new way to do grief, as you said beautifully, is taking care of yourself. So I want to introduce you to a mutual friend of ours. This woman has been in the Navy. She is an effing amazing badass. I mean, she just is. Would you not agree?
She is.
We did a retreat in North Carolina at my friend Joni's house, who you will meet on a subsequent YouTube program, the YouTube version of this. And Dawn was with us. So you got to spend a couple of days with Dawn in North Carolina. Give me 3 words that you would use to describe her.
Oh my goodness. She's fierce. She is solid. And she gives hope.
So Dawn Whitcomb is fierce, she's solid, she gives hope. She's also a breast cancer survivor. She's also Dylan's mom. I am going to bring her on right now. Hey, Dawn.
Hey, how was everybody?
So this is how
Hello.
Jessica described you. I described you as, I'm intrigued by this, you know, as a Navy person who is a #1 fucking badass. Jessica described you as fierce, solid, gives hope, and I added that you're a breast cancer survivor / thriver, and you're Dylan's mom. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
So if you would, this is what I'm most fascinated by. In a nutshell, what was the experience of being diagnosed with breast cancer, the prognosis, and then the treatment? What was that like for you at the time, and what year did that occur?
Yeah, so about in 2011, I noticed a lump above my left breast. My primary care physician also felt it. We kept an eye on it. Apparently, I didn't know that a lot of times, or physicians are trained when they feel tumors, they can feel the rigid part, kind of gives them an indication of whether or not you could be in trouble. So we kept an eye on it. It did grow over the year. I was very meticulous. I'm very meticulous about getting my exams, my physicals and things. And she said, Dawn, I really don't like how it feels. And I said, okay. So off I went to get a biopsy done, and it did come back. Well, actually, I had one prior to that, and it came back negative. Then the following year, then it came back that it was there was something there. So then I went to see actually a friend of mine, a physician, and he then called me, and the nurse called me and said, you need to come in and see Dr. Bursick. And I said, no. That was like, you're going to come in like 2 hours later. I said, no, you're going to tell me on the phone exactly what I have. And of course, being a Navy corpsman, you know, I spent 6 years being a medic. I knew what carcinoma meant. And that dreaded word popped up, and like, I just like sank in my office chair, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? I have no breast cancer in my family, none whatsoever. So of course my mind went blank for a few moments, and then, yeah. So then I went and told my mother. Being a nurse, I've learned to tell my mother everything first. So she was really devastated. And at the time I didn't know what stage I was at yet. So we went in, and I was stage 1, which is a great thing. And I was HER2 positive. So my cancer was being fed by my estrogen in my body. So I was ER positive is what they call that. I sat down with Dr. Bursick, and I basically said, look, I don't have it in my family. What would you be telling your wife? What would you advise your wife if I were her sitting across from you? And he said, I wouldn't advise a mastectomy. He said, I believe we can get it all, and then we can treat with radiation. And I said, okay, then that's what we're going to do. So immediately, I'm going to say that was like in May of 2013. And that following weekend, then they had me scheduled for my lumpectomy. And they took my sentinel lymph node and 2 other lymph nodes out of my left armpit. And then breast tissue was removed down to the bone, like right above my left breast. So, and then I completed 6 weeks of radiation. I went every day. Piece of cake. The radiation oncology people were just beautiful women. I would get there. I went at the same time every day, and it literally took me more time to take off my clothes than to lay down on the table and put my arm in my pre-molded, and do the radiation. And I finally just got to the point. I said, ladies, look, if you don't mind, I'm just going to take my clothes off here, and we're just going to get it done. So yeah, it really was a piece of cake. And I knew going forward, I was doing the right thing. I did contemplate mastectomy, but it didn't feel right to me at that time.
Let people, if you're comfortable, let people know where you live and where this incredible treatment center is.
Yeah, so I live in Quincy, Illinois, and we have a wonderful cancer center and breast cancer center. It's a spectacular. I mean, you're going to hear anytime, and I'm sure, like you all, you're going to hear different things. Well, you should go here, you should go there, or no, they're the best at that. I've heard bad things and good things about the breast cancer center here, and my experience was phenomenal.
So what was the follow-up like then when you finished the radiation?
Well, I still go. So the first 5 years, you go every 3 months to see my oncologist, and I get blood work done. Pretty much he goes over if there's any. I then also went on tamoxifen, which basically, in layman's terms, what it does is it shuts down my ovaries. So I stop producing so much estrogen. So it kind of clamps down on that, feeding that cancer. I don't take it anymore. I was on it for 7 years. And now I see my oncologist every 6 months. And I still get regular blood work. And I'm very faithful about doing my self-checks as well. So,
do you have a sense for what's the likelihood that it might return?
Sure, that always worried me. Could it turn up somewhere else? And it could. It's a possibility, absolutely. But I don't really worry about it. I mean, since Dylan's death, I think I can pretty much walk through anything that God gives me right now. So
at the time, did you think, oh my Lord, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me? Was it that big of a deal? Breast cancer.
Oh yeah, the whole cancer, the word I can distinctly remember going into the cancer center and going, what, can I say the F word on here?
You already did.
Oh, okay. I just remember walking in the cancer center and going, why the fuck, what am I doing here? Cancer is for old people, right? I mean, old people get cancer, not somebody who's not even 50 yet. I mean, that was my mentality. And I know that wasn't true, but I'm like, I'm healthy. What? And I hated sitting there. I was like, I just couldn't wait to get out.
So I know you well enough, and you and I had a long, intense, in-depth conversation, similar to the conversation I had with Jessica about your life, the death of your son, and your road to healing. And one of the things, and I really appreciate this feedback that I'm getting from people, is they don't feel like we are spending enough time talking about the road to healing. I honor that. So I'm going to have Jessica back. I'm going to have Kim and Kirk back. I'm going to have Margot back. I'm going to have you back, Dawn. And we're going to talk about concrete, tangible things that you've all done and the length of time, and what you would have done differently. And based on everything you know now, what you would suggest that people do. This might sound brutal to some listeners, but I know that it won't sound brutal to you, Dawn, because it's the truth. So one day, you are driving home midday, you're approaching your house, and there are 3 different scenarios. And one of the scenarios is that your frickin' rock star of a son has killed himself. You walk into the house, and in your home, you come upon your son's dead body. You are the first person to find Dylan. You are grateful that you're the first person to find his dead body, because you were the first person to receive his living body when he was born. What I'm curious about is, did this experience with breast cancer, and did your being treated for breast cancer, did that color and influence the journey that began that day when you came upon your only son's dead body?
Yeah. I never thought about it, but yes, it did. After I was diagnosed with cancer and they told me, I was going to go on tamoxifen, and, my whole life, my whole perception of life changed. I mean, I work in a nursing home. I know what death is about. I see it every day here, but I can rationalize with it. I can say, you know what? These men and women have not only served their country, but they've served their life purpose, and now it's time for them to go home. But when it happened to me, and I had at the time a 16-year-old, 15-year-old child at home, I didn't really talk about it with Dylan that much. I didn't really talk about it with anybody. I did my gig, I got my cancer treatments, I went in and did my stuff. But, as far as preparing me for Dylan's death, I never really thought about it, but actually it did, in a sense, that because I researched everything about breast cancer after, and I was hitting the books and I was doing all of this. And then after Dylan died, I did the same thing. I researched everything about suicide. I researched everything about losing a child. I researched everything that I could do based on what I had done previously with my breast cancer. And that's how I kind of correlate it. As far as death goes, I can't think of anything where I would have gained anything by having breast cancer, except that it put a perspective on how life can be so short.
Did having breast cancer, did that alter the dream you had for how your life was going to unfold? Did that alter it in any way?
No, it didn't. It was kind of like I was waging war on my body. It was me and the breast cancer, and I was going toe to toe with it, and I was not going to let it beat me. And I put myself in those bad places where I thought, okay, if both breasts have to go and I don't have hair I don't care. I was going to battle it, and if it turned out to be something worse, then okay, bring it on. We're doing this. I wasn't going to give up.
That's who you innately are.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For the folks that are watching live or will view the recording, as you reflect back, what's one of the most significant steps that you took with the intention of healing that actually did, in retrospect, help you heal, that maybe someone listening might incorporate into their own life?
Well, for me, letting people in, because with my breast cancer, I didn't really let a lot of people in. I kind of kept it to myself. Like I said, I did my own thing, went about my day. After Dylan died, I allowed people to help me, because I was going to do the exact same thing. I was going to go down that road by myself. I was going to do it alone. And that was the biggest thing for me, to allow people to help me. And,
Was that hard for you to do?
Yes, it's a very, in life in general, it's hard for me. I don't, it's not that I don't accept the help, I don't ask for the help.
Yeah, yeah. So Jessica, you referred to Dawn as fierce, solid, and she gives hope. Based on everything she just shared with the world, what else would you add to this?
She's magnificent. I mean, her strength is unbelievable. And when we first met, Dawn, I didn't know that you were in the Navy, but when I learned that, I thought, well, of course she is. And then when I learned that you've jumped out of perfectly good airplanes, 15 times? I was like, well, of course she did. When you just said recently that you swam with sharks, like, of course she did. You are just, you're amazing on every level.
Oh, thank you.
And your perspective is so beautiful. It's really, really inspiring.
Thank you.
How do you feel, Dawn, about being referred to as a #1 authentic badass?
You know, I don't actually think I am. You know, I was raised by two very strong women in my life, my grandmother and my mother. And my grandmother was a single parent back in the 50s, and that was very unusual at that time. And I admired her. She did so much. And my mom was a nurse and very strong. So I'm just the product of that. So that's the way I was raised. So I don't look at it as being a badass or anything different. I don't know any different.
What are 5 words you would use to describe yourself?
Loyal. I'm very loyal. I'm honest. I don't make shit up. or try to get out of anything. I tell my staff that, I have an open door policy. Anybody can talk to me at any time. 5 things. Wow.
Loyal, honest.
I'm very loving. I'm a very loving person, although I may not show it physically. I have your back at any time. If somebody needs help, I'm the first person to be there. Adventurous. I'll try something once. If I don't like it, I don't do it again. But I love to take adventures, and I love to travel.
Loyal, honest, loving, adventurous, travel loving.
Mm-hmm.
Was that hard for you to do? Come up with those 5 things?
No, not now. If you would have asked me several years ago, it would have been hard.
Do you see yourself as radiant?
Yes. So much so I have it tattooed.
Yes, you do. We'll bring you back and you'll show the tattoo.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Okay. All right.
So I do believe that healing is possible. I believe it starts with intention, vision, feeling the vision, and taking action steps. And the action step that you shared with us that you took, which kind of went against the grain of who you were, was letting people in, asking for help, letting people in. I want to share with folks another step that I consciously take in order to heal. This is a singing bowl. My father got it in a store called Global View up in Spring Green, Wisconsin. It was handmade by people in Nepal. The people that created this, they believe it vibrates at a healing level. I believe that I'm so powerful that if I choose, when I choose to believe that this vibrates at a healing level, it does. And when I can match my vibration to the sound that this emits, when I can become one with the sound, I'm vibrating at a healing level. Why do I want to vibrate at a healing level? Number one, I want to heal. Number two, like energy attracts like energy. And I want to draw more of that healing energy in. We've shared with you 2 concrete steps you can incorporate into your lives today with the intention of healing. You might be saying, where am I going to get a singing bowl? Tonight at 7 p.m. Central, my brand new friends that Nancy brought to me, Marion and his wife, are offering a virtual sound bath, a 1-hour virtual sound bath. It's $15 for 60 minutes of healing. You get access to the recording for 48 hours. You can watch it over and over and over again. What I'm going to do below the premiere of our show, I'm going to share the link. It's $15. You deserve it. So I believe you're a badass. Jessica believes you're fierce, you're adventurous, and you love to travel. So what title are we settling in on to describe what you've offered to step into ASAP, but particularly once you retire?
I don't know, maybe we should ask the audience or the tribe what I should be called. I have no idea.
Explain to folks what you're going to do for us.
Well, so I'm going to assist Tom in putting together international travel for retreats, down to daily. Tom's going to take care of the retreat part. I'm going to take care of the travel arrangements, lodging, and other excursions while we're there.
Where virus permitting is the first place we're going to travel, and explain to people why we're going to go there.
So the first place we're going is South Africa. My game plan is hopefully the end of April, beginning of May, a good full 2 weeks, because it's going to take us 2 days to get there and 2 days to get back. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking at a game preserve that has thatched roof chalets where we would do the retreat and do a game drive. My mother-in-law just happens to live up the road, and we would do what we call a braai, which is a South African barbecue. And they also have animals that roam free on their property. They have wildebeests and warthogs and things. So, so then we would catch a domestic flight from Johannesburg to Cape Town, where we would stay in a house that would sleep approximately 15 to 16 people. and we would do wine touring. We would also drive down back to Cape Town, and we would take the boat over to shoot, now I can't even think, Robben Island, sorry, where Nelson Mandela was held captive for 26 years. We'd take that tour, and maybe throw in another excursion or two.
If you want to go, raise your hand and say, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. You have been there before.
Oh yeah, many times. So my husband is from South Africa, and my in-laws, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law still live there, as well as my mother-in-law.
So this is the deal, folks. We're going to take 12 people, not anybody. It's not open to the public. You have to either have worked with me one-on-one, or you have to have completed an online program, either Permission to Mourn Module 1, Becoming Radiant, the 5-week program, the retreat that I'm kicking off is today, tomorrow night, the A to Z Healing Toolbox. It is not open to just anybody. We have to know who you are. And like I said, there's going to be 12 spots. Jessica, I know that you're familiar with raising chickens, but what are your thoughts about South Africa?
Oh my goodness, it's on my list. I mean, I've always wanted to go. Olivia, my daughter that passed, she always talked about going and wanting to save the big game animals. And so, I mean, I see in the no coincidences category, like, of course, this would be one of the first, international retreats that you would put on.
So if you don't know me, I'm huge on intention. Intention, intention, intention. It's very clear to me why we're going to do this. We're going to do this to consciously raise our vibrational level collectively in a group as high as we possibly can. What I have learned over and over and over again is when we're in a group, the collective energy of the group is so much more powerful than any one of us individually. And my hunch is when we're touring vineyards and looking at wildlife and in a beautiful, exotic land with people that love us and care for us, my hunch is we may not have to literally fly on a plane back home. We may be able to just kind of levitate, snap our fingers, and be back home wherever home is. Or maybe we'll decide to stay there. I mean, I don't really know. That's trip number one. And we've thought this through. We're gonna map it out. We're going to allow 12 people to say yes. We're going to tell you when the drop dead date is due to the virus, when we'll say yes or no. And if it doesn't work out this spring, we're going to have alternate dates in the fall. We're going to do this one way or the other. The universe will decide exactly the dates. The vision I'm holding, honestly, is we're going to do it at the perfect time. My hope is it's spring. I release the outcome. So this is a dream come true for me, that it's so powerful of a dream that I'm dreaming it, but there's a little bit that says it's too big. I mean, it's too big. It's like, oh, Tom, you're asking for too much. But then I go, but you have 2 dead kids and a dead wife and you've never killed yourself. So ask. I mean, I have learned that. So Rory's birthday is July 24th. My wife, Trish, is 100% Irish. She and I went to Ireland on our honeymoon. We stayed in castles. It was her 3rd time there. My grandma and my grandpa, their people are still in Ireland, in Fenit, in Tralee, and in Dunbeg. I was in Ireland about 6 or 7 years ago with my mom and dad and some of my siblings. My mom just turned 88. On July 24th, I will be in Ireland with my 88-year-old mom and with my youngest sister, Anne Marie, and we will be offering a 5-day, maybe a 6-day retreat in Ireland. Dawn, tell folks the other 2 little exotic countries that we're going to do the exact same thing in.
Right. So after Ireland, then we'll travel to Scotland and then down to Wales. Yep.
We're going to do a 4 or 5-day retreat in Scotland. We're going to do a 4 or 5-day retreat in Wales. It's going to be Downton Abbey, not in England, in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. It's going to be the beauty and the culture and the mysticism of those 3 amazing, amazing countries. I don't have words to describe, honestly, how excited I am about that. In 2022, that's my year. Rory died on 2/22. Who was it that said, make no small plans? The Chicago guy, Burnham, I think it was Burnham. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know I'm probably wrong. Make no small plans. Share with the folks what we're going to do in 2022.
I believe we're going to Australia and New Zealand. Yes.
Not bad. Australia and New Zealand. And the truth of the matter is the people are all lining up. I mean, we know people in Australia, we know people in New Zealand, and they're saying, come, welcome, welcome, welcome. Jessica, what's on your bucket list? Where do you want to go internationally?
All of those places. India.
India.
Yeah. And I know that what a magnificent trip that will be. And I believe that there's a lot of specific planning, and you have to have the right people to be able to guide you through that magnificent country. And I think that you have met someone recently, haven't you, that might be able to help in the planning of that kind of.
Dawn, I can't remember. Have you been to India?
No.
Do you have a desire to go?
I did actually last year. I was planning a retreat in Bali, in India. Is that India? Bali?
It's Indonesia.
Indonesia, sorry.
But that's on my bucket list too, Dawn. So
Yeah.
we are kindred
Actually,
spirit.
no,
I know
have
we've
never-
talked about Bali before.
That's horrible that I just said that.
No, it's
no,
real
I've
life.
been to India, but I do want to go to Bali.
This is what I think. You're a fucking badass. You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
So I have been to India, and one of the most amazing close encounters of the third kind type experiences was seeing the Taj Mahal for the first time and literally being energetically drawn to it and walking to it, and then seeing where the wife is buried and the place for where the husband was going to be buried. And I have photos. I'll post photos. I mean, the people are a quarter of an inch, and 36 inches high is the Taj Mahal. I mean, it truly is one of the great wonders of the world. To answer your question, Jessica, yes. I mean, I said we're going to go to India. 3 women in the comments popped up and said, you must come to my community. You must come to my community. You must come to my community. You must stay with my family. I will show you around. We will show you around. We will plan this leg of the journey. I literally was on the Ganges River, the holy sacred river, where the pyres are, where the Hindu bring their dead, and ceremoniously wrap them in orange and put the marigolds around them and light the flame. You know, the body goes up in flames, and then the people that are the lower caste in India, they sweep the ashes into the Ganges. I mean, we witnessed 3 human beings being sacredly transported to the next realm. Anyone ever done that before? We also were in an ashram in Rishikesh. And any image you have of what an ashram might be like, if you read Eat, Pray, Love, it is exactly like that, I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman who was our tour guide, who happened to own the store in Spring Green where my dad got this, Marion, she brought the ashes of her husband. And the guru at the ashram led a ceremony right on the Ganges where she sent his ashes off into the river. We're not doing that here in Rockford on the Rock River.
Gotta go to India for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, India for me was absolutely life-changing in so many, many, many ways and so many different reasons. We have friends in Paris. My friend Emma, who follows us every morning when I walk Molly and we look for the owls. We're going to go to Emma and visit her in Paris. She said she's going to buy me a really, really, really expensive bottle of wine. I know Italy's on your list, Dawn. Oh yeah. CW told us about his favorite place in the entire world in Italy. Many people that I talk to, they want to go to Greece. I'm curious, folks. Type in. I know you're watching us. I know you're listening. What is your bucket list place? Where do you want us to go? Remembering that there's room for 12 people. And the intention is to surround ourselves with beauty, with indulgent, abundant food and wine and experiences, to consciously raise our vibrational level with one intention: to heal, 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 to expand, 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 and to do what we came to the planet to do: to love and be loved. To love and be loved by each other and by the universe itself. Who would have thunk? Honestly, did you ever, Jessica, in a million years, when you were traipsing from one hospital, you flew to Germany, you're like, oh my Lord, did you ever in a million years imagine we would be here today?
Never. I never would have imagined that life would have such wonder and adventure and heartbreak, and so much beauty all wrapped up together. I'm fascinated that the 3 of us, we're within driving distance to one another. I could leave my house now and be at Dawn's office in an hour and a half. But Tom, you're just a little over 3 hours from me. But that all of our stories, our history, everything led us together. I mean, through Tom and through his work. It's just amazing. I would have never, no. So long story, a long answer to your question. No, I would have never thought that this is what life had in store for me.
Are you grateful that you're alive today?
I'm very grateful. And I would not have thought that I would feel this way 3 years ago, even 2 years ago.
Dawn, a week after you found your son's body, could you ever, ever, ever have imagined that on October 1st, the full moon, that we would be having this conversation?
Not in a million years. No. I would never thought I would have been alive, to tell you the truth.
You are alive. Are you
Yep.
grateful to be alive?
Absolutely. Every day. I'm glad, you know, I woke up this morning and I pulled out of my driveway and I have to look to the east when I pull out. And this beautiful, almost similar to your backdrop, Tom, this orange, you know, beautiful sun was coming up, and it was just, yeah, life looks, you know, completely different to me now, but in a so much more beautiful way better than I had before.
Don't just listen to me, folks. There's a new way to do grief. And this new way to do grief allows us to create a new way to do life, a new way to do life. When I was in 8th grade, and I was talking to the high school counselor who was trying to help me figure out what my elective should be, she said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I was with my mom and dad. I took a really, really deep breath, and I decided I was going to tell her the truth. I don't know where I got the courage to do that. I grew up in a family of athletes. I'm an artist. I'm not an athlete. I took a really deep breath and I said, I want to have my own talk show. I want to have conversations with people. I want to tell their stories. She didn't laugh at me. And my parents didn't laugh at me. She said, wonderful. She said, wonderful. She said, I'd like to place you in debate class. I think that would really, really help you, you know, on your journey to making your dream come true. Well, along the way, my daughter died, and my wife died, and my most amazing son, Rory, died, and many, many, many times, more than I can count, I thought the only way out is to kill myself. The pain and the hopelessness and the darkness is so unbearable. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. I didn't kill myself. I'm so grateful I didn't. And I know now on October 1st, this glorious full moon, that I am loved so much. I am loved so much, like you are, Jessica, and like you are, Dawn, that the universe planted that seed when I was in 8th grade. And the universe, God, gave me the courage to give voice to what I wanted to do. I never let go of it. I never, ever, ever let go of it. So today, to be with you, Jessica, my co-host, and you, Dawn, the perfect fucking badass, Dylan's mother, to have you and Dylan help me launch this. I jokingly say this to Kim and Kirk. I know I'm going to live to 100. I know it because I know why I came to the planet. I'm in kindergarten. I know this much. I know this much. And my purpose here is to get a couple of graduate degrees, a doctorate in a new way to do life. So I'm going to be here for a long time, but I want to make it clear, if for some reason I do leave the planet in the next 5 minutes, let the people know he left on a high. He loved his life. He is so grateful. He is so, so, so humbly grateful. So honestly, thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me launch what has been a dream of mine since I've been in 8th grade.
Well, you are entirely welcome, and thank you. I'm looking forward to being the new international travel mind behind the trips.
It's right out of Austin Powers.
I can't wait.
So Jessica, you and I, with the help of God and technology, will be on YouTube next Thursday at 11 a.m. Central with new guests. We're going to carry the thread of breast cancer awareness through the month of October. Everybody else, thank you, thank you, thank you. Take really, really good care of yourselves. See you next Thursday.